Hello everyone, my name is Nick, and I am the 3D environment artist for Panic Games' Worlds of REM Times Nightmare, and today I'm here to talk to you a little bit more about what I do and how I do it. Generally what I do is I create the 3D assets for Worlds of REM Times Nightmare, and I texture them and help position them so everything looks good according to the camera. Now, this is actually my first game, so I'm kind of new to a lot of this. It's really been a pleasure to work with everyone that's on the team. We have some really talented artists. It's been great. So to go a little bit more in depth about what I do, Max creates a drawing of what we need to create. So be it like a platform or a particular area or a boss area or something like that. And I take a look at it and start building it in 3D, see what works, see what doesn't, making sure it's to scale and to resolution. If the textures aren't big enough, then they will look pixelated and just not good. So I have to make sure that everything does look okay when it's in game. Generally, after he gives me the image and I start working on it, I go back and forth with him and everyone else on the team to make sure everything looks good and it's going in the direction that we want it to. For Titan's Nightmare, we're mainly going for kind of a 2D look for a lot of it. Even though the assets are 3D, we want it to mesh with a lot of the 2D things, like vines and some of the trees and things like that are going to go on top of the objects that I create. So we want to make sure that it all meshes together. So a lot of back and forth goes between us to make sure that it looks okay. And the video that you're watching now, this is one of the platforms that I'm making. And my workflow for this is I make the general shape, I match it to the 2D concept art, and Max gave me a bunch of like blocks of texture that I can use. So a lot of these I just kind of Tetrised them together and then took a brush over them to blend them together, add a little bit more, subtract some, just so it starts to look okay on the object. With the pieces Tetris together, that makes up the platform. Now the top of the platform, he gave me a couple of textures for that as well, but nothing that I really have to puzzle piece together. Generally, I place down a bunch of the texture and then brush it out to make it look good. I have sand on the very top of it that I take a multi-dot brush and brush around it so it looks a little bit more like sand. And I lay everything up kind of like someone would in Photoshop. When it comes down to it, everything is on a 2D canvas. When you're looking at it, it's on a 2D screen. You do really only have one view to worry about at a time. With a game, it's a little bit different if someone's moving around, but in general, everything still goes back to 2D. Even the texture, it's wrapped around the object, so even that it's laid out to be a 2D object. And so after I get done with painting this, I send out some screenshots to the team. They take a look at it, make sure it's looking good, get that immediate feedback from people. Then we post it up on Twitter or Facebook. Then it's done and it's ready to be put into the game. Generally, a platform can take me from 30 minutes to an hour and a half, depending on what I want to add to it. There's different assets that can go on top of it that I might have to build, like some of the additional rock platforms that go on top of this, that itself is kind of like a mini scene that I have to work with. And so I have to be concerned of where that's going to go, how that's going to look, and to make sure it doesn't look off, that it blends with everything else. Because this platform, it's going to go on top of a big background scene. And like I said before, it goes with a lot of the 2D assets. So sometimes I might have to carve into the model itself or the texture on the model to make, say like a vine. I want to make it look like it's kind of carved into platform. I might have to make a little bit more shadow work or something like that to accommodate that, to make sure it meshes together. There's not a whole lot of that in the demo, just because a lot of the 2D assets are pretty much set and good to go. They can just be placed on top or in the scene without too much trouble. Throughout the level, I put down everything that's in the level as far as a 3D object is concerned. Some of the stuff that you'll get to see is a giant, like, gnarled tree with a lantern hanging from it. There's a really cool hidden boss area that I really enjoyed putting together. Definitely look for that when you play the demo. And then there's the final area with the final boss, Irvine. And there's not too much to that. We just made it colored a little bit darker than the rest of the level, so it looks a bit more menacing. There's more 2D objects, a tree or two that is kind of gnarled and dead, along with fencing and some pumpkins and things like that. There's a lot of cool stuff with environment art that you can do. I've only scratched the surface. Again, this is my first time really going into this and doing anything for a game. And even with environment art, I was taught a lot of general good knowledge, but this is the first time that I've really been able to branch out and use my skills for something specific. The environment art it's a lot of fun, and anyone that's looking to get into it, start looking at games, even movies and things like that, sets. A lot of it is set building. You only really have to worry about what someone's going to see. Since you're not dealing with real objects, you can cut the backs off of things, which is kind of neat. Like a lot of these platforms, they don't have backs to them. Since no one's going to see it, I don't have to worry about it. The computer doesn't have to process it, and we can save space that way. So I know I've done a lot of rambling. I'm really excited for this project, and I want everyone to enjoy it, to like it, to give us feedback, tell us what they think. PAX is coming up here. That's going to be really exciting. I hope everyone likes what we've put out so far. I hope everyone likes the demo, and if you're at PAX, come see us. We'll be Panic Games, Worlds of REM. We hope to see you out there. Thanks everyone, and